In this lesson, we will focus on applying materials to the French door. We will see how to create a simple PVC material to assign to both the frame and the sash, as well as a more complex glass material. First, in the Properties window, let's open the View Layer tab. Scroll down until you reach the Material Override parameter and click the X to remove it. Let's move to the 3D view and press the Alt-A keys to make the glass panes of the French door reappear, which we had hidden in the previous lesson. In the outliner, double-click on the Archipack collection to select the model and all its hierarchies. In the 3D view, press the / key on the numeric keypad to isolate the selection. Deselect the model, press Z and choose Material Preview. Select the window frame and in the Properties window, open the Material tab. It's interesting to note that since we used the Don Archipack to insert the French door, the corresponding materials were also added, although they still need to be configured. However, this aspect makes our work easier, since it means that the appropriate geometries have already been assigned to the materials. As for the window frame, the material we need to configure is PVC white. It appears twice in the material slot because the first refers to the exterior part of the model and the second to the interior part. So select one of the two entries and click on the Use Nodes button. In the Shader Editor window, the material's default nodes are displayed. We need to change its color and make it slightly brighter. So let's set up the Principled BSDF node like this. Click on the base color field and change the value channel to 0.2. Also, slightly lower the roughness channel value to 0.4. Let's go back to the Material tab and rename the material to PVC Gray. If we move closer to the frame, we notice that the edges haven't been beveled. Therefore, to achieve a better result when rendering the material, open the Modifiers tab in the Properties window, click on Add Modifier, type Bevel and set the amount parameter to 0.3. As for the doors, they were already shaped when the model was inserted. To create the glass material, let's switch back to solid view mode and press the / key on the numeric keypad to make all the elements in the scene reappear. Blender should immediately return us to the camera view. Let's change the view mode to rendered. At the moment, the scene appears almost completely dark. However, soon we'll have a clear and immediate reference of the result we'll achieve. In the Material slot, select the glass material and click on the Use Nodes button. Although you can achieve a glass-like material simply by using the Principled BSDF node, to get the highest level of realism, we need to work differently. So, in the Shader Editor window, let's delete the Principled BSDF node. Press Shift+A and type Glass. Select the Glass BSDF option. Insert the node and connect it to the Material Output node. It should be noted that this node alone does not produce a particularly realistic glass. We need to combine it with other nodes to achieve a more convincing effect. Press Shift+A, type Transparent and select the corresponding option. Insert the node below the glass node. Now we need to combine these two nodes. Press Shift+A again, type Mix and select the Mix Shader option. Insert the node between the connection from the glass node to the Material Output node. The first shader channel of the Mix node will automatically be connected. Connect the transparent node to the second shader channel as well. Press Shift+A and type Light. Click on Light Path and insert the node above the glass node. Connect the IsShader Ray channel to the FAC channel of the Mix Shader node. Change the IOR field of the glass node to 1.33, which corresponds to the refractive index of glass. In the Material Preview window, we can see the result. Now let's try to understand the reason behind these steps. The main node is the glass node because it gives us a glassy material with reflections and transparency. We can choose how transparent the glass should be. Set roughness to 0 for perfectly transparent glass. A roughness value greater than 0 gives you a more opaque frosted glass. The second node we added is the transparent node, as it provides a kind of simple, clean transparency. It is used to produce softer shadows and to make the glass material faster to compute. The third node we added is the Mix Shader node, which determines how much of the glass material and how much of the clean transparency to use. Finally, we added the Light Path node, which, through the Is Shader Ray option, tells the Mix Shader to use transparency when creating a shadow and to use glass for everything else. With this node system, we have created a material capable of producing more natural shadows and optimizing rendering. So we can summarize the construction of the glass material as follows. The glass node gives us a basic glass material to start from. The transparent node allows us to achieve soft shadows and speed up calculations during rendering. The Mix Shader node combines these two nodes. The Light Path node decides when to use one or the other. Looking at the result, we can notice that the image appears particularly bright. The shadows are too soft and lack contrast, making them not very well defined. To improve control over the shadows and increase the overall quality of the image, it is necessary to add an additional node capable of enhancing their effectiveness. So let's press Shift-A, type Matte, and select the corresponding option. Place the node between the connection from the Light Path node and the Mix Shader node. Now connect the Ease Diffuse Ray channel from the Light Path node to the second value channel of the Matte node we just added. Let's try to understand the reason and importance of this new step. The Light Path node has two outputs that are useful for glass. Is Shader Ray tells us if the light is calculating a shadow. Is Diffuse Ray tells us if the light is being directly diffused, meaning reflected from other surfaces in the scene. When we use only a shader ray, we can control how the material handles direct shadows. However, the shadows might be too soft, as in our case, because we're not also taking into account any diffuse light rays. That's why we connect Is Diffuse Ray to the Matte node to combine both behaviors and increase the contrast. Let's select the Matte node and repeatedly press the M key to disable and enable the node. This way we'll clearly see the difference between the two results. After completing the construction and assignment of materials to the frame, the sash, and the glass panes of the French door, we still need to configure the material for the rubber, caoutchouc, along the vertical edges of the glass. In the test render, this material appears as a completely white line, which seems to contrast a bit with the rest of the model. Therefore, in the Material tab, we select this material and click on the Use Nodes button. We click on the base color field and lower the value parameter to 0.1. At this point, we can save the file incrementally. If configured correctly, the glass material can add a high level of realism and quality to your projects, especially in the architectural field. The combination of transparency, reflection, and shadow control is essential to achieve a balanced and convincing result. With the techniques covered in this lesson, you now have all the tools to create glass that is not only aesthetically realistic, but also functions optimally in the rendering of your scenes. Remember that experimenting with the parameters is key to adapting the material to the specific needs of your project. In the next lesson, we will see how to create the materials for the interior floor, exterior floor, and the wall behind the mesh.